This is how your victim mindset is holding you back from success, and a 3-step process to help you to overcome it. So I'm gonna say something that's gonna be a little harsh. I'm gonna say something that's gonna be a little bit painful to hear, but something that is needed. And that's what I love being as a therapist and as a podcaster. I can tell you guys harsh advice because I'm not your friend, but I also can tell you guys really helpful advice because, again, I'm not your friend. I'm someone that has studied the stuff that he's talking about. So about a year ago, I went to a conference that was for entrepreneurs, and what they talked about was how to build sales funnels. They talked about how to get traffic in there, how to convert them, things like that. And I remember one speaker got up and he didn't talk about sales funnels, but rather he talked about mindset. And when he got up there and spoke, and by the way, his name is Eric Thomas, you should definitely look him up. But when he got up there and spoke, I remember he talked about racism. Now, he's a black man. He's from Detroit, Michigan, right? So racism, yeah, it exists, right? But I remember he got up there and he spoke and he said, guys, listen, I know racism is out there, but I'd be damned if I let that get in my way of my dreams and my goals. And instantly when he said that, I connected with it. Because here's the thing, my goals, my dreams, they're so big that I can't allow anything get in my way. I tell myself at times, the only person that can get in front of me and my goals is God himself. And that's why I say when it comes to these tough things that we all run into, these trials and tribulations. But here the thing is that you don't want to start blaming outside forces for why you can't succeed at a certain thing. Because here's the thing, no matter your reason is good or not good or whatever the case may be, you're still not accomplishing the goal at hand. And that's what we don't want to happen. So what we're going to talk about in this podcast is how you can overcome this victim mindset, because at this moment, it is not helping you, but it's hurting you. And I got to give you guys the steps in order to overcome that. Now, as I'm talking about this, one thing I want you guys to do is hit the subscribe button so they can get more content like this, because all of my listeners, what they grab from me is handheld advice that I give in my therapy sessions straight to them live through these podcasts. And that's what I want to give to you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the community, sit back and let me do all the work for you. All you got to do is listen and apply. So with that being said, let's get into the first main point of how to overcome a victim mindset. So one of the first things I want you to do in order to help you to overcome a victim mindset is I want you to create a list of all the ways that having a victim mindset has helped you. And the reason why I want you to do this is because I need you to acknowledge that how you see yourself at this moment has not been helpful. If anything, it's harmed you. And the thing is that this harm, it comes in the form of safety. You think that because you're not taking any failures, any risks, that you're doing something smart. But here's the thing. Staying safe is one of the worst things you can do when it comes to living a fulfilled life. Trust me, pain is something that you need to engage, not avoid, because when you avoid pain, you enter in something a lot worse, which is called suffering. And I do not want you guys to suffer. You've suffered long enough being a victim, right? But here's the thing, guys. I need you to know that because you were a victim, it doesn't mean that you have to carry that identity, right? You do not always have to be seen or look at yourself as a victim. That was one part of your life. Trust me, man. Growing up poor, black, right? In South, or in the rural South, if you will, like, hey, it can be tough, right? But for you, it doesn't have to be like that. No matter if your dad left your family, right? So if your dad divorced your mom, or maybe one of your parents passed away, maybe you're someone from a marginalized community, like a black and brown community, LGBTQ community, right? Whatever the case it may be. Like, I need you guys to know that just because of where you come from, it doesn't mean that it gives you the right to give up, to not be as successful as the next person. That is a limitation that you're putting on yourself. One may even argue this is a limitation that other people are putting on you because they know that if they can get you to believe this limitation, you won't compete with them. And that makes their job a lot easier. So what I want you guys to do is write down all the ways that a victim mindset has helped you. And I'd be hard pressed if you found one, if not two of those. But here's the thing, guys. Again, no matter how good those reasons are, at the end of the day, we need our goals to be accomplished. That is what brings us that fulfillment. It's the goals and the values that we're chasing. And if you're not chasing your values, you're not chasing the life that you want to live. And that is where depression starts to come. And that's why when people don't have the life they want, they no longer want to participate in it, if you get what I mean. So what does this mean for you? I need you to evaluate the effectiveness of the identities that you carry. Right now, we're talking about the victim identity that maybe you're carrying at this moment, but there may be other identities that you may be carrying that is no longer helpful for you. If that is the case, I need you to evaluate it and ask yourself, what is a more helpful identity for me to carry that would help me towards my goals, help me towards the values that I have? All right, the second point, and here's another thing, guys. I think this is going to be true for all the points. You're not going to like me for saying this, but you will love me if you take action on these. And point number 2 is definitely no different. So point number 2, in order to help you to overcome your victim mindset, is that you have to accept the responsibility that comes with being great. Now, one story that I tell really only in my podcast, I really don't share this out in public, and there's no reason why. But one story that I sometimes share in my podcast is the fact that I was in a remedial reading class basically all throughout high school and even throughout middle school. Now, what happened for me was that I was never a fan of reading. Because of that, my reading scores was always low. My comprehension was always low. I read slow. Like, it just wasn't a fun thing for me to do. And as a result, my test scores were not great. And my test scores was actually so poor that I actually ran the risk of not graduating from high school. But here's the thing, guys. I realized that, and the administrators realized that, which is why they put me in that class. But after realizing that, I had to go and take the responsibility of not going to lunch and instead going to the tutoring room and then asking them, one of the tutors there, to help me with my reading, to give me SAT, ACT prep reading materials. And I did that for a whole semester. And when I did that, I was able to go and take the ACT test, make an okay score, right? I didn't do great, but I did just enough, right? I did just good enough in order to go to college. And here's the thing, guys. Not only did I get my bachelor's degree, but I actually went to one of the best schools in the state of South Carolina, known as Clemson University, and I got my master's degree from there. Now, here's the thing, guys. Being who I am, being someone that wasn't good at reading, man, to say that I accomplished a goal like graduating from Clemson University with a master's degree is a very big accomplishment, right? But it wasn't always that easy, right? It was not as easy as I'm making it sound. Like, it was something that I really had to struggle for, something that I really had to work for. But at the end of the day, guys, I had to tell you, it was worth it. Now, for you that's listening, I don't want you to think, man, because I come from the school across the street, because I come from a rural town, because maybe my parents did not have all the money that I wish they had, I don't want you to think that you're so different from other people that you can't be successful. That is you giving yourself an excuse, a cop-out, a reason why you shouldn't be taking action. And guess what? It works because it keeps you safe. It keeps you to reserve your energy, right? Like, you don't expel any energy or sweat or any of that stuff, right? But that is not helping for you, right? That is not healthy for you. Now, here's the thing, guys. I want you guys to remember this. When it comes to the effort that you put in, at the end of the day, guys, you're not always going to be rewarded right then and there, right? In one of my previous podcasts, I talked about how sometimes it's like planting a seed, right? You plant a seed, you water it, and you're not going to eat from that plant, right? The next day, the next month, man, maybe even the next year, depending on the seed that you're planting. But we're planting it and we're watering it for the fact that in the future, at some point in time, we will be able to eat from this tree. But if you do not believe in that, if you do not allow yourself to take that responsibility, take that accountability, as I'm mentioning, guess what? You're never going to start. So what I want you guys to do is to let go of all the reasons why you shouldn't be here, why you can't succeed. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't help anyone but your competition. And trust me, you don't want to help them out, right? They're already competition in and of itself. So don't give them any extra bulletin board material or any extra excuse or reason why they should be better or beating you at whatever it is that you're doing. So what does this mean? This means that the price of greatness is costly and also it's worth it. All right, main point number 3. I'm so glad you guys made it this far. I always tell you guys, if you made it this far in the podcast, it says that you really love it. And that means that you should be someone that subscribed to this channel. Trust me when I say only 1% of people take action on things like this, right? Whether it's subscribing to a YouTube channel or showing up to a workshop or maybe paying for a course. But there's a reason why they're a part of the 1%. It's because they do what the 99% is not willing to do. So make sure you're part of that 1% and hit that subscribe button. So with that being said, man, let's jump into the last point, the third point of how to not let your victim mindset take you over. And all you have to do is simply don't outsource your power. For a lot of people, they believe that it's going to be the government that saves them. It's going to be their teachers, their parents. It's going to be their local governors, right? They're going to think that all these people are responsible for saving them. Even their preachers, their pastors, right? All those guys, they think that they are responsible for your safety, for you being able to be, let's say, successful at your job or your business or whatever. But here's the thing, guys, even an author, once he gives away his pen, he is no longer an author, right? And the same thing for you. The second you start to give away your power, you are no longer in control of your life. And that puts you in what we call a very powerless state. And when you're in that state, you just let the wind take you and push you wherever the wind wants you to go. You're just simply aimlessly going places without any intention. And that's going to lead you in a very bad place. That place is going to be contentment. That place is going to be dissatisfaction and depression. And I don't want you guys to be there. Trust me, it's not great. So what I want you guys to do is ask yourself, how can I take the responsibility out of the hands of my preachers, my pastors, even my therapists, right? The governors, the presidents of the United States, right? Whoever's over your country. How can you take the power out of their hands and put it into your hands and start taking action for your life? That's what we want to do, because here's the thing, victims, they always are waiting for a victor, right? A superhero, right? And that's how superheroes are created. They need a victim in order to save. And here's the thing, guys, I want you to be the superhero for your own life. And all you got to do is to ask yourself, how can I take my own power back? It may be a small task at the beginning, but trust me, these tasks, they will build up. If you believe that, you'll find yourself in a different place in less than 6 months, and I guarantee it. So with that being said, guys, I want to go ahead and conclude this podcast by re-hitting these 3 points that's going to help you to change your life, by helping you to overcome the victim mindset. So point number 1 that I made is that I want you guys to create a list of how being a victim, right, having that victim mindset has helped you. And here's the thing, guys, you're going to find out that very rarely does it help you. If anything, it keeps you safe. And right now, you shouldn't want to be safe. You want to be living. Point number 2, guys, you need to accept the accountability that comes with being great. For me, I had to take the accountability that my reading levels was not where it needs to be. But I said, you know what? I'm going to take the actions that I need. I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of leisure time, and I'm going to go and I'm going to increase my test scores. And I did that, and I was able to go to one of the best colleges in my state. And then point number 3, make sure you guys do not outsource your power. Your power is the thing that keeps you alive. You can think of it as kind of like an outlet, right? There's a lot of power when you plug up an iPhone to an outlet. It keeps that phone charged. If you do not have an outlet, if you cannot empower or charge your own life, you're going to be dead. And I mean that, you get what I mean when I say that. So with that being said, man, my name is Coach Wells, man. Appreciate you checking out this podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I would love to hear from you guys. So comment below. And if you do that, if you say, hey, Coach, can you talk about this topic or that topic? I will definitely do a podcast episode specifically for you just because you left a comment. So with that being said, you guys take care. Make sure you crush it in your life, your business, and in your personal life. I'll see you guys later.